Welcome to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, where we talk all things good food, good business, and good cars. And now, here is your host, Arnold Gasita, founder and CEO of Petra Automotive Products. Let's roll.
We have an exciting podcast today. A very close friend of mine, a lot of emotions between Wes and I. We go back a long way. He's been a great friend, involved in many things that I do today. I owe him a lot, and we both kind of started in this business together. So I am so grateful that Wes Spence from Waxahachie Automotive Complex agreed to join us today. Wes, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Arnold. Good to see you.
You too. So we've known each other for a very long time.
Yeah, you're getting old, so.
Yeah, not you, just me. You still have hair, though. We both started this with hair, and you somehow still ended up with hair.
Right.
So we both started this business about the same time. If I remember correctly, you were with Tommy Vaughn Ford.
Yeah, that wasn't my first place, but I think it's where we met.
Okay.
I believe.
Was that close to your first place?
No, because I had the body shops when I owned my own body shops.
Oh, that's right. But in the dealership world.
Yeah, in the dealership world, I worked for a Chrysler store. Was my first. Went straight into management, and then I went to a Pontiac GMC store, like a year each, and then I went to Tommy Vaughn for most of my early career. So, in parts and service world.
And that's where we met.
That's where we met.
And thank God, and it's been a great relationship ever since been together.
Yeah, it's been great.
You've been a great and loyal and wonderful friend and customer for that matter.
Right,
you know?
right.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into this business. How did you get into the automotive business?
Well, I was a police officer for many years as an accident investigator. I had my own wreckers, and when I had all these wreckers in Houston, you just kind of had a lot of wrecks sitting around, so I opened up a body shop, and then I wound up having a couple body shops. And a good friend of mine, he's passed, but he come to me one day and said, "Man, you'd be really good in the dealership world." And I said, "I don't know anything about it." He goes, "You're doing it." So, I made the jump to the dealership world and never looked back. And it's been great. It's been great for my family, and it's been a great career, and hopefully it's not coming to an end soon or nothing.
No, you're very good. I don't think it's coming to an end at all, unless you wanted to come to an end.
No.
So your first position in a dealership was what? What was your first?
I was a body shop manager, and then I went to parts and service director immediately. And one of the stores, Tommy Vaughn, we had like 50 technicians. They were real short-handed on advisors, but I remember my first day, I said, "Guys, we're going to add about 5 more advisors." Boy, that was the wrong thing to say to those guys, but we did, and we like tripled their business. So, Tommy Vaughn has of course passed, but the Yankees, Jim Yankee and his sons, and both of his sons, they own it now, and they're very good people, good friends of mine. I love them. I owe a lot to that family. So, and I still keep in contact with them. So,
it's very unusual for a service manager, fixed op person to become the owner of a dealership. In fact, some of the things that I think people in my industry sometimes struggle a little bit with is that the owner or general manager doesn't really 100% understand fixed,
True,
right?
true.
So they come from the variable side, very successful salespeople, general sales manager, and they come from that side.
Right.
And they usually hire somebody that they can trust that kind of handles the fixed op. But it is very unusual in our world to get a fixed op manager that kind of grows his way to own a delership, right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, but it's pretty valuable knowledge that I've learned. Because if your fixed absorption is at a certain level, that pretty much pays all your expenses for the dealership, and your sales is just a bonus. That's the way we look at it. If you can get your fixed absorption, anywhere in the 90s or 100s, which we've been there before many times, that's your goal. And a lot of GMs don't understand that. They think everything comes from the front end and don't understand the back end. Like the recon, they'll try to cut their recon business for their used cars cut it down and save money. And they're really not saving money. It's guaranteed money for the store, which pays the bills. So that's where we find a lot of GMs, they don't understand that part of it. Now, there's a lot of talented GMs. I'm not down in any
No,
of them.
for sure.
A lot more smarter guys than I've ever been, but it does help to have the fixed operations. I'll tell you a real quick story. You know, I worked for Red McCombs, and he recently passed, but he was a mentor of mine and great man. And he hired me from Tommy Vaughn. And yeah, and while we left, I didn't want to leave that family. I loved them. They kept calling, and finally Red McCombs got on the phone and he got me on the phone. I'm thinking, how often does a billionaire call your house? You know.
Right.
So, but anyway, he convinced us to move to San Antonio, work for Red, and actually my wife was with me at the time, and I said, Red, the only reason that we would come is I want to learn the front end of the business. And he said, Wes, if you'll do half of what you've done in Houston, I'll fast track you. And exactly what he did. We were there about 6 months, and we had just completely turned around his fixed operations in his big Ford store. And I remember he came to my office. Again, this is a billionaire. He don't have to be involved, but he was very involved all the time.
And a staple.
Oh my gosh, he was an incredible man. But he came to my office. He says, Wes, he goes, you've done a good job. I'm going to move you to general sales manager. He goes, I'm not going to pay you more money, and I'm not hiring anybody for your position right now. And I go, okay. He goes, be careful what you ask for. So I went from getting off at 5 or 6 o'clock every day, not having to work every Saturday, to a life lesson. And it taught me the front end very fast. I was working till midnight. We had 40 or 50 salespeople, big store, selling 400 or 500 new cars a month. And I went to work in finance and desking, and I learned everything there was in that, used cars. And but it was a good lesson, and Red knew what he was doing. And the reason I parted ways with Red, because I did not want to leave that man, is he didn't have any ownership opportunities. And I told him one day that I said, I have to leave you because I want to be you one day. And he understood that. And but we've remained, friends for years after that, and talked to him until, like I said, recently he passed. But good man.
Great man, and so many good stories about him. You know, most good, and I would say great leaders like that want you to leave and to move and to excel and exceed. And they kind of appreciate the moment they had you and appreciate that you're going to go do something greater and bigger.
I agree. And I've had a lot of guys that have worked for me over the years that have done the same thing. And the first thing I tell them when they come to me, and boss, I gotta try this opportunity. I said, just make sure it's the right opportunity for your family, and I would never hold you back. Because if I didn't have one here for you, then I understand clearly. So, but anyway, just that's pretty much the way.
So that was your opening into the variable side.
That was the opening of the variable side. And
okay. And then from there you came to
Dallas, probably came in the wrong time of the year. It was 08, 09 when everything was crashing. Decided I want to be a part owner or work my way to be a part owner in an operation. Good people as well. With Keith War and Trey Patterson and all those guys, they were just good people. And it was a rough store. But I'm just a young guy wanting to be an owner one day. And we fought through it and everything. And it worked for a while. But that wasn't I finally was offered to buy in partnership with this operation with Waxahachie. So, and it was a couple stores that wasn't doing very well at all. And so my opportunity to get in was then, and we took it to the next level. And I've been here 13 years now, and been blessed. It's been a blessing for our family, and grown this place. Added a Nissan store, couple body shops here, Waxahachie Off-Road. We do our spray and bed liners, we do window tint, we do everything we can to keep in-house, to keep everything we can in-house, to keep the money in-house. So that's our goal.
You've always been that kind of guy where you not only want to bring everything in-house, but you want to kind of dream big. So you have, in your complex here, you have Waxahachie Ford,
right?
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram,
right?
Nissan,
right?
2 body shops,
right?
And a recon center.
Yes.
all in the complex.
In a used car supercenter.
And a used car supercenter.
We average about 200 cars a month in a used car operation sales. So you look at it, and our average recon is about anywhere from $1,500 to $1,600 a car. So you do the math on that, on cars in and out. And like I said, that's how important it is to your fixed operations and your absorption of your stores, and it's what keeps us very healthy. And the stores have been very healthy for many, many years now. So
something too about you, like I mentioned, you're probably one of the nicest guys in the industry that I know, and you really are.
I don't know about that.
No, you are, and kind of country guy, nice guy. You hire people, and they stay with you a long time.
Yeah, I'm loyal to them, and they are loyal to me, and that's could be one of my downfalls sometimes. I'm too loyal to these guys, but I invest in their families, and I know most everybody's. I learned that from Red and Tommy Vaughn and Jim Jenkin. Them, they're very invested in everybody's family, and they know their wives, most of their kids. Red McCombs, he wrote letters for two of my kids to go to McCombs Business School out of Austin, which is extremely hard to get in.
A pretty good one, Red McCombs. The name on the building says
McCombs.
Hey.
Yeah. And they graduated from there, and they're both very successful. My current partner now, he knows my son, he played football at Tech, Blake, and he's always asking about Blake and Matt McClarty. He's a great man, another mentor of mine. They're just involved and good leaders are involved in your families, and they know your family. They ask about them, and I try to emulate that as much as I can, and remember to. I do have a couple hundred employees, but as much as I can, I try to remember their names, and I send personal letters to their family and their wives at Christmas time, and I have birthday cards on my desk. I send them an anniversary card and a birthday card, so the little things that count. So
making it personal, as we've interviewed a lot of owners and successful people like you. You just mentioned the birthday cards and the handwritten notes. Something that is said over and over from all the successful people that we've interviewed is that personal touch.
Right.
I think a lot of the new generation tends to forget that, right?
They do.
I'm not saying we're old, but I'm just saying that handwritten note, that happy birthday card, that Merry Christmas card goes a long way. It just means I remember you.
It really does.
I see you.
We get involved in there's tragedy in a lot of our employees' families sometimes, your funerals and stuff, and we will, the first thing we ask is, instead of sending flowers, can we feed your family? How many people you got coming to the funeral? We try to help in many ways. We try to stay really involved in the community here. I've donated probably almost 40 cars over the years. We had when I say being involved in the community, we try to keep the attendance, the school attendance. And the way we had it set up was each quarter, because sometimes you're sick, you don't want a sick kid at school, I get it. But if you make it through the semester or the quarter or whatever they call it at the school, and you have perfect attendance, and for high school up, we would get a coupon that would go in this little big old vast thing that they would roll. And at the end of the year, we had a car there displayed all year long, a new car, and we would give this car away. We would pick 10 people, 10 students that would fill the stadium with all the kids and a lot of their family. We'd line up 10 cars. We would put one car there, 10 sets of keys, pick 10 kids, and only one key started. But we'd give that car away, and what people didn't realize, we gave a car away to a kid, because there's a lot of good stories there. We won't get into that, but what it did is the attendance with these schools, it would create a lot of state money and federal money by having higher attendance. And I've had these principals and superintendents call me and tell me, Wes, you helped us raise $1.2 million more than we did last year. And just by giving a $20,000, $30,000 car away. And that's kind of my give back to the community. And
actually help probably the scores, because the kids are actually coming to school and learning.
Well, you're going to learn something while you're there, so, for the most part. But I did that with a lot of local schools
So you gave away a car at high schools.
Yes.
For people having perfect attendance.
Perfect attendance.
How many cars have you given away like that?
Almost 40. So I don't know, maybe 36 or so. I don't remember exact count.
That's incredible.
It's been over the last 7 years. Now, COVID kind of messed that up because nobody was going to school. So we had to cut it off a couple of years ago, and we haven't started back up yet. But I've had some schools reach out to me, and we plan on doing something similar to that.
That was a fantastic program.
Yeah, great.
That's great.
Great program.
That's great. And for giving part of the community.
Yeah.
You've always been kind of a community guy, though, no matter where you're at.
Well, you got to be involved. I spend most of my advertising back into the community. I mean, I'm not trying to get people from Dallas to come to Waxahachie. Yes, come, please, everybody, come buy all the cars you want. But my goal is to keep everything in the community as much as possible, give back to the community, and they'll stay. And, there's plenty of people, 30,000 people here in Waxahachie, Midlothian, another 20, 30,000. These local people will support your business if you take care of them. Don't worry about the big newspaper ads or I'm old now. Nobody does newspaper anymore, but social media is really good. We do a lot of Facebook, but stay in your zone. And that's why they have these franchises in different areas, 15, 20 miles apart from each other. Because if you learn to stay in your zone, take care of your people, they'll come back. Your retention will
master your zone.
Absolutely.
So when Wes Spence goes to hire somebody, what are you looking for? Who do you want to hire?
I look at your resume to see where you've been, how many times you've moved. That matters a lot to me. If you're a jumper and moving around a lot, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions before I hire you. I look at your integrity. I look at your background. And I also look at your demeanor. How bad do you want this job? What are you looking for? I'm just not hiring just for a body. I'm looking for somebody that wants to be with me for a long time. And I'll tell them that. So I'm looking for a career guy because I'm going to pay you well. I probably overpay people. And that's another reason why they're loyal to me. I don't mind paying. As much money as you can earn in your pay plan, I'll tell them, and I never cap it. There's a lot of dealers, like in COVID, they capped it. They said, well, we're going to change your pay plan. And dealers were making good money in COVID. We made very good money. It slowed down a little bit to a point because of the inventory, but we figured out a way to make money, and a lot of dealers did prosper from that. But they went in there and started cutting people's pay plans, and I did not do that at all. So you make as much money as you want. I hope you do, because the more money you make, the more money we make. And that's the way I've always looked at it. So, and I never have that cap for anybody. Here's your levels. Even on your hourly people, a lot of times, I will have little bonus structures in there for these hourly people and some type of incentive, or an incentive to get to the next level where you're not on an hourly, you're on a salary or a bonus program or structure like that. So,
what do you say? The business has changed so much in the last, the business changes every day. But 30 years ago to now, what do you think are some of the most drastic change, good or bad? And what are some of the drastic changes from 30 years ago to now that you see in the industry? Some good, some bad.
I see a lot of the young people that weren't raised with probably, I don't know, maybe the manners, the aggression that we've have. I didn't have a lot of money coming up. You didn't have a lot of money coming up. So, I think I see that probably some laziness, some millennial type attitudes. I got to work till when? I got to be here when? That's been the hardest part for me to adjust to is trying to figure out, try to get their attitude to look like mine. Because I think if I make $1, I want to make 10 next. Right. And probably the hardest part in management, I've had my managers, I've had a few meetings with my guys and say, look, you can take a 40-hour-a-week technician, for example, and he's going to run 40 hours a week. So you got to decide, do you need that guy? How many stalls does he have? Well, yeah, we need that 40 hours. He's a steady Eddie guy. We need that 40 hours. Don't want to get rid of that guy. You could probably kick him in the butt a little bit, motivate him, put incentives out there, and he might do 50 that. And he might step it up a little bit, but he's going to average out about that 40 hours because he's comfortable with that number. Service advisor.
He's content with it.
He's content. We got service advisors that make 50. We got service advisors that make 150. They're content with that 50. Do you need that 50? Well, he's good CSI, takes care of customers, got his customer base. He's happy with that little $50,000 a year. And we got guys that want to make 200. So you got to decide, do you need that guy? Well, yeah, the answer is usually yes. But you also need those guys that want to make $150,000, $200,000 a year. Same in sales, same demeanor. You got a guy that sells 10 cars and he's always selling 10 cars. You got a guy that sells 30 cars. So it just depends. You just got to have a mixture of both. But and it's the hardest part. Like I told managers, is kick them in the butt all you want, but they're probably going to average about here. You just got to figure out, do you need them or you want 2 80-hour-a-week guys for technicians?
So one of the things that's changed, and again, you know, as we interview people, it's the same. It's the same, and across the board in any industry, really, the people today that are coming in to hire, which is hard already. What we're saying is they don't have that hunger,
Right.
and that drive that we had when we were young.
Right.
Like you said, we didn't have money, so we were nobody was going to give us anything.
No.
We were going to work our butts off to get it, or we weren't going to get it.
No.
And if our boss said work 15 hours, we'd work 15 or 16 hours, right? Nobody had to tell us twice. We were there.
Tommy Vaughn, when he was alive, he was a downtown dealership. I lived on the north side of Houston, 45 minutes away. We opened up at 6 o'clock every morning for the service drive because people would drop their cars off and go into town to work. And I can remember Mr. Vaughn. You remember those old Nextel phones?
Yeah.
Hey, and you talk. But anyway, 6 o'clock, and he had 2 entrances. He would, if it was 6:01, hey, where you at? I'm coming in the entrance, So you had to be there at 6 o'clock every day, work till 6 o'clock, 6 days a week. And I didn't mind. I really didn't. They paid me well, took care of me. I took care of them. We had a great business relation. But these kids don't understand that. If you tell them to be here at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're going to look at you cross-eyed. Like, what are you talking about? And you got to stay till 6.
Yeah.
Well, how many lunch hours do I get? That's their question.
Right.
And there is a big difference today's world. So.
It is the drive, man. Another thing that I think, not to put words in your mouth, but and they also expect to be the boss sooner. Yeah. Like we have a career of starting out in body shop, running a body shop, then service department, then somebody gave you a shot at general sales manager while you were doing service department, right? So you're working double the positions, longer hours.
There's no more money.
With no more money, right? But you wanted to pay the price, learn it.
Right.
That got you here, here, and here. So we have 30, 40 years of paying the price and working our way to where we're at.
Right.
Another problem I think that happens today is not only do you get the person coming here that doesn't want to work that 6 to 6 job, but tomorrow they want to be the manager.
Right. And I think a lot of social media has that because, you have a few people out there in their 30s that maybe did something on a podcast or whatever, or discovered something in social media. They see all these 30-year-old millionaires. Well, they want to be that guy. Well, you just can't do that in a business for the most part. You can't be an intern attorney out of law school and expect to be partner.
Right.
And now they do. They really want to be partner in 5 years. You can't do stuff like that. So same thing. You're not going to be a general manager in 5 years if you started off from the bottom. I mean, I want you to be that guy. But that's where the loyalty part comes in, like you're talking about. Be that guy. And I've had people promote all the way up. Sales managers down there that were porters. And that's where the loyalty comes in. And I love promoting people like that, if they have it. But they got to have the drive. That's the most important.
How do you get those guys to, how do you get people motivated today to stay, endure, pay that price?
It's hard. And I've had to let a couple of them leave to go see how green that grass is. And every one of them have come back. The grass is not that green. They're sold a bill of goods. They're promised the moon, sign-in bonus. Now, I don't just let them run back. I make them suffer a little bit. I love them. I still love their families. But eventually, they come back, and that's where the loyalty they're here with me for the next 10 years, So, but how do you get them? So your question is, how do you get them to stay? You got to pay them well, but you got to treat them well. You got to pat them on the back. Money isn't everything. It's a lot. Don't get me wrong. That's why they work. They're not here to see our pretty faces. They're here to work and earn money for their family. But a lot of times they just want recognition. If you just pat them on the back and walk out and tell your technicians, that's the biggest advice I can give a general manager. Get off your butt. Go say hi to your technicians. Go talk to them. Go ask them about their family. Ask them if they got enough work. Is the workflow pretty good out in the shop? Ask them these questions. You just ask them how they're doing. When it's 110 degrees, now we have air conditioning in our shops now, but it's still hot out there. Have the ice cream truck come in. Buy them all ice cream for the day. Have Gatorades out there in an ice chest. Do something special. And those little bitty things like that, it's incredible. We cooked ribeyes not too long ago for our technicians. They hit some big levels. And I personally went out there and sweated, just unbelievable sweat, cooking these ribeyes. But it was such an honor, and they really appreciated that I'm sitting there cooking probably 150 ribeyes, probably 120 degrees on the pit, but it was great. And I had my other GMs and other managers come out there and help me. I wanted them to see that we don't mind doing this. Thank you for what you do. So
Well, and that's one way to retain them, right? They see that the big boss is out here
yeah,
cooking for them, serving them,
yes,
right? Because you and I both are in that leadership of serve. We're leaders to serve,
right.
right?
Exactly.
That's why we're here for. Let's talk about some fun stuff. Of all the places you've traveled, everywhere you've gone in the world, and I know you've gone a lot of places. What's your favorite?
We like Cabo a lot. Cabo's close. You can get there in a couple hours. It's safe. Yes, it's Mexico, and I know Mexico can be a little sketchy sometimes, but it's safe. It's clean. You never see any trash on the streets. The restaurants are great. You don't have to worry about drinking the water. Cabo is probably one of our best. And we just came back from Turks not too long ago. It's a gorgeous, beautiful place. And I will go back. The water's incredible. But just for a quick trip, or a weekend, or a 4-day weekend, Cabo is probably one of them. We'll end up owning a house there eventually. So
Cabo's the place.
yeah.
All right. How about food? What's your favorite restaurant of all the restaurants you've traveled to? What's your favorite restaurant?
Here in Dallas, we like a place called Albernays. It's a little, I think there's 2 Albernays in Dallas, but the one downtown is a little small place. The waiters have been there for 20 years plus. Food is always perfect. Steaks, oysters, whatever you want. Little small bar.
That's an old steakhouse in Dallas, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
good steakhouse, good service.
So is steak the go-to food for Wes?
Yeah, pretty much. Good
Because,
ribeye.
because every time I've ate at your house, it's been steak and it's been good. And that's you cooking it.
A ribeye, good bottle of wine. So, there's a lot of good wines out
And
there.
then I still don't forget Lisa makes the pralines.
Yes,
Man, those pralines are good.
I know. Yeah, I should weigh 300 pounds. I try not to eat everything. She's an incredible baker, but yeah, it's probably steak is a go-to food. I probably need to eat more fish, but
Well, we probably all need to eat more fish, but steak is
Right,
definitely
right.
a go-to food. Favorite car?
I just built. It took me 4 years to build the Eleanor. I got I took a 70 model Mach 1 and made the Eleanor car, and pretty proud of that. It's got the Coyote engine in it,
Wow.
and I do have a little 77 Stingray Corvette, fun to drive. But the Eleanor car is, and I put the new interior, like a 2021 interior in it, all digital dash, everything, with the old body style Eleanor, and it's just a pretty incredible car. So that's my favorite car. So,
That's great.
and it's a Ford, so I can say that.
Well, you also have other things at Ford, right?
Right.
Hey, somebody's starting out new in this business. They're going to start new. What are 3 things that you would give them advice to do?
Try to have the longevity when you do start a job. Be totally honest with your managers, and then let them see you work hard. Let them see you want it. Let them see your drive. Look at your demeanor, the way you sit, the way you speak, the way you shake their hand, the way you look them in the eye. Everything there is. If you want to be that person, because that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for that slumped over, lazy kid out of college we hire a lot of military. I've got several Marines, and you can't say ex-Marine because they'll come at you. I got several Marines that work here, and I'm proud to have them here. We love military people. I'll hire them all day long because they're out of the military, yes sir, no sir, ready to work. 6 o'clock in the morning is nothing. Stay until 9 is nothing. And that's the attitude that you should have when you start a new job.
Okay, great. Wes, love you, brother.
Love you too.
Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for being part of this. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Arnold.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, your main source for all things good and fun, business, food, and cars. If you like this episode, make sure to rate us and subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please leave a message at the link below. Till next time, happy eating!